As we witness the pandemic affecting millions across the globe, we see fear and anger in the minds of people. But if we are able to channelize it in a constructive, positive way, it gives some sense of the direction in our lives. Our uncompromised values, ethics, and greater resilience is the way forward. It's today more than ever before that we give back to the society our love, care, and nourish it to become stronger. Today, millions of Indians dream of a better future. To instill hope for brighter days and see their dreams come true is a great responsibility for all of us. Our act today would significantly contribute to our fate. The foundation of our growth series reflects the love for our motherland and for our planet as a whole. We continue to serve humanity with immense contribution from various leaders who choose to contribute through their lenses. In our growth series today, we have with us Mr. Vivek Bhatia, who is the MD and CEO at ThyssenKrupp Industries India. Vivek, with over 2 decades of experience, has been instrumental in his contribution towards building executable business strategies. Welcome to our show, Vivek.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on this really nice event.
We start with our first curiosity, Vivek. So, what is the impact of pandemic on industrial engineering, plant design, and industrial EPC business? And we also wanted you to put some light on the opportunities this pandemic has created and the transformations required to leverage this opportunity.
So, as a business leader, I am totally convinced that it is people who run the business, and it has to be a people-first approach. Customers, efficiency, ideas, technologies, everything else comes second, but it is people first, because if they are not convinced about your business, if they are not motivated, if they are not out there pushing to grow and succeed, then nothing will happen in your operations. And that is why I always focus on our people. We focus on where and how can we augment their skills, how can we bring about a culture which fosters cooperation between all of us, but also brings a sense, a desire where people are challenging the status quo. And with the pandemic, definitely that was the topmost point on our priority list. And we really first and foremost focused on ensuring the well-being and safety of our people. We wanted to make sure that nobody is put at risk, and which is why we very quickly adopted a policy that whoever could work from home should be working from home. And whoever has to be in office, there have to be stringent protocols and SOPs established so that we can ensure their safety and well-being while they're working and executing on various projects for our business. So I think that was really the first and foremost priority, ensuring their safety and well-being. And second, we did recognize that everybody has a home, everybody has a family, everybody has to take care of their entire personal situation as well. And we actually said that we would not deduct salaries for the period where there was a complete lockdown, and we paid salaries in full so that everybody was able to sustain their homes. And this is particularly true for the junior most people, because for them every month's salary is really an important aspect. So we made sure that we paid salaries in full, and we also said that we are not in retrenchment mode, and in fact for some of the young students whom we had already made offers, we did take them on board as well, so that their careers are not negatively impacted. But at the same time, it put us in a position where we could really ask our people to go the extra mile to contribute towards the success of our business. And really, I have to say our entire team responded. So people have voluntarily given up some leaves to support the business. People have worked extra hours during the day and even on weekends to make sure that they are supporting our customers. And this is really what happens when you care about your employees. The employees care about you, and this is really the driving factor, the underlying philosophy with which we run our business. So definitely, the pandemic has created unprecedented situations. It has posed challenges that we had not foreseen. And certainly nobody in the industry had any kind of plans in place to overcome these challenges. So firstly, in an EPC environment, we do see that a large part of the work happens on construction site. And this is first and foremost impacted very directly due to the absence of labor and of course due to the restrictions in normal operations at various locations. Secondly, manufacturing is a core part of the entire process, whether we do it in-house or we do it through our supply chain. And it is a very well-known fact as of today, manufacturing is only gradually recovering from the impact of the pandemic and is nowhere near full capacity at all. Critical part of the entire chain is engineering, and over there I have to say we have shown the most resilience. Very early on, by leveraging technology, we were able to put it into a work from home mode, and as a consequence that part of our operations has been the least impacted. Coming to opportunities, I think any challenge, any disruption forces people to rethink how they are conducting business and also forces people to think about new ways of doing the same things. And it was exactly the same for us. And I've really seen one bright spot in this entire process has been the degree to which we have incorporated digital technologies and digital capabilities into our entire business, be it in the sphere of engineering, which is enabling work from home, or be it in the sphere of inspection, which is enabling us to review business performance and execution of various stages in a digital mode, and be it in the commissioning of new plants. All of this has now been digitally enabled. Second, in terms of opportunities, we have had the chance to relook at our entire operations and really identify where we could drive more savings and really improve productivity in the process. So I think that has definitely been a big benefit. If I were to say from a business point of view, what could we really push forward? I think it is in customer engagement. And you would be surprised why I'm saying customer engagement. But imagine many of our customers are also at home. And in the initial stages, we found that they were also struggling to figure out how they could move forward. So we conducted a series of digital initiatives to engage with our customers. And we reached out to over 3,000 people during the initial stages of the lockdown, right from the CEO and managing director level, right down to the operator in a plant. And this exchange was extremely valuable for us because A, we were able to communicate what our capabilities are. We were able to communicate how we are overcoming the challenges posed by the pandemic. But also in the process, we were able to get their feedback on the kind of challenges that they were facing and what we could do as ThyssenKrupp Industries India to support them in this really critical phase. So in the process, I think we also gained by coming much closer to our customers at a very critical juncture.
I think that's a great deed, Vivek, because coming closer to our customers is something what every customer is looking for today. They want everybody to come closer to them so that they can share their good and bad with the people who are serving them. So that's very nice. We come to our second curiosity, which is what are the growth prospects of this industry in the next few years? So if you could put some light for the next 2 years' time.
In terms of growth prospects, I have to say that we are going through a phase where obviously demand is not that good. We have seen the recent GDP numbers for India, and there has been a sharp decline. But I'm an optimist, and also the nature of our business is an EPC business where we are really focused on long-term projects which take 2 or 3 years to execute.
True.
So we have seen that because we had a good order backlog at the start of the crisis, we have continued to actually execute those projects. Even though in a muted way, we've continued to execute those projects. And in fact, we have been growing at 20% year on year. So we won't achieve 20% growth, but we will achieve some positive growth even during the course of the pandemic. So that to me is a great positive, and it also reflects the resilience and commitment of the entire team at ThyssenKrupp Industries India. In the industry per se, I think we have to take a midterm and long-term view. India as an economy, India as a nation is really a bright spot in the global context. We have 1.3 billion plus people. We have strong aspirations. We have a rapidly growing middle class. We have a tremendous need for infrastructure. And all of these are pointers to the fact that there is strong economic growth, which I would say is very much required, but which is also inevitable if India is to become what our destiny is. So with that in mind, I definitely believe that the midterm and long-term perspective for India is really bright. And yes, we have had 1 year which has been taken away due to the pandemic, and we have all really rallied together as a nation to come together and overcome all of these challenges. And in some way, if I look at the bright side of this, it has brought all of us closer. It has demonstrated resilience. It has rebuilt confidence in what we can achieve in adversity. And now we have to build upon this as we emerge from the pandemic to really move forward with confidence and continue the strong growth of our country.
Very true, Vivek. So with this optimistic view, can you also throw some light on the employment prospects this growth would generate in India and South Asia?
Definitely. I think any economic growth is accompanied by employment. But what we have to be conscious of is the kind of skills that are required in every phase of growth are different depending on the circumstances. In today's environment, yes, we realize that manufacturing is a key driver of employment, and that has really been the focus and emphasis of the government, of successive governments over many, many years to make sure that India has a broad and robust manufacturing base. I think this is something that we have to continue to focus on. And definitely the infrastructure space will see a lot of investment. But we also have to realize that we are in a new age. It is a digital age. And this is even more obvious as we have gone through the pandemic. And in the digital age, with IoT, Industry 4.0, so many new skills and areas are emerging which will require a lot of talent and a lot of skills. And this is really the opportunity that many of our youngsters can seize upon. We are seeing a really tremendous shift towards digitally enabled businesses. We are on the cusp of a revolution with 5G services that will be rolled out, which will really make it easy for us to drive technology in every sphere of business and every sphere of life. And India has demonstrated that with every wave, we have been at the forefront of building the right skill sets. So there was a revolution which was led by many of our IT giants who have really become global giants today, be it the likes of TCS or Infosys or Wipro or Tech Mahindra, you name them, they are global champions. And therefore, I see over the next 10 years, it will again be champions in the face of digitalization, IoT, automation, which will play a strong role going forward. And that is where I would encourage our youngsters to think about what kind of skills they can pick up, which will allow them to contribute and grow with this next phase, with this next revolution that we are experiencing.
That's great, Vivek. So, the kind of things what you talked about in terms of the growth and the employment prospects which India and South Asia is going to generate seems very fantastic, and it seems a lot of light at the end of the tunnel. And with your optimistic views, I'm sure at the role of a leader at the helm is going to be even more important. My next curiosity is something which is very personal to you. So, in your corporate journey, what are the values you haven't compromised, and what inspires you to lead the way? I'm sure you must have some stories which from your life, which is an inspiration even today. So, can you share some stories from your life to our viewers?
Definitely, I think in one's career and one's life, there are many occasions where one faces challenges and faces various disruptions. And really, how you tackle and overcome those challenges and situations is what gives you confidence going forward. There have been many such instances in my life, and I'd like to share one where I was really in the spot. So once in school, I was asked to deliver a lecture in front of the entire school. I was the president of the Interact Club for the school, and we had several members of the Rotary Club present, and I was supposed to deliver my lecture as the president of the Interact Club. I was still in middle school, and I was, of course, extremely scared and nervous. And with my teacher, I prepared a long speech, and of course, I had done all my iterations and I'd done all my preparation. And when I went on stage, I think I said the first few sentences, and out of fear or whatever it was, nervousness, I completely forgot the rest of the speech. Like, I could not remember even a single word of what I had prepared with my teacher. And so you can imagine there are 1,000 students in front of you in the assembly. You're on stage, you have various guests, your principal is looking, you've just said the opening 3-4 sentences, and then you're stuck. And at that point in time, I had to improvise. And though I was unsure, uncertain, I had to take control of the situation. And I had to use my presence of mind. And immediately on stage, I knew I had to get some more time to put my thoughts together. And so I asked a question. And when you ask a question, you, of course, as a speaker, earn the right to pause for a few seconds. And really, I crafted a new speech while I was on stage, and I delivered that. And when I came back, when I finished my speech, I came down and I went straight to my teacher and I asked her, how did I do? And I was expecting she would be furious and she would say, this was a complete disaster. But quite to the contrary, she said, you did good. And I'm really happy that you came up with something which was really, your own set of thoughts and ideas. And the only thing I can say is you were a bit slow, but it was okay. And I think when I reflect on that situation, I take, every time I reflect on that situation, I take so much confidence out of that experience. And it leads to a lot of learnings as we think about it. So firstly, I think what it told me was that you could do a lot of preparation, you could have worked on everything and set it right, but when things are in motion, there could be disruptions. You may face the unexpected, and so accept that. To me, that was a very basic understanding even in that day. And second, I think I could have really messed it up, but I did not lose my confidence. And that to me is the second important learning, that in the face of adversity, you should keep your cool, you should keep your confidence, you should really reflect on the circumstances and see, what should I do now? And thirdly, I think I was able to leverage my creativity on that spot and really improvise as I went along. And this is again a very fundamental learning for our lives, that we have to really reflect on the kind of challenges that are coming, and we have to react, and we have to engage with life, and we have to create our path so that we are able to find our way out of those challenges. And today's situation is no different. When I think about the pandemic, up and until the pandemic hit us, we had all our plans. We were fully prepared. But the moment the pandemic came, all of those plans went into disarray. And we had to really respond and remain calm and confident and take charge of the new reality.
Very true.
Right? And as we have gone through this situation, we have had to think on our feet, and we have to really create new ways of tackling a new challenge. And that is something that I would really encourage all our young viewers to also think about. Yes, you had so many things thought about, so many ideas that you had already figured out, and suddenly you have this pandemic and there's a big disruption. But it's also an opportunity. And how can you create your new path in this moment of disruption is what will define you in your career.
Very true.
So I would say seize the opportunity.
So this was Vivek with us, sharing his mind and heart talks. Thank you so much, Vivek, for being a part of Vyas Growth Series.
Thank you. It was my pleasure, and thank you for having me on this show.